Hello friends, today I'm taking apart a remote control called a Home Easy HE100. It's quite an old device from about 2006, 2007 I think. It's touchscreen in a sort of old-fashioned sense, whereby you've got an old-fashioned traditional LCD legend and you program it to control your TV. It's got a learning remote control built into it, which means you point your existing device remote at this and fire the codes from the TV or video remote control into this, and it learns the codes. So it's programmable through the air. It also controls these little sockets here and a range of other devices, but the sockets came with it from a friend of mine. These are called HE100 for Bravo. Mains controlled sockets, and you can turn them on and off with this device. So if I switch the mode to app, see app is highlighted there. You've got the lamps. You can control lamps with it, which have special receivers built into them, and you have main sockets, which I've got, of which I have two of these. Okay, so let's get the back off it. It's a very useful bit of kit. It's a universal TV remote control for up to 3 devices, and also can control mains operated lamps and wall sockets. Not plug sockets, they're called wall sockets. The phrase plug socket drives me balmy. Anyway, that's another side issue. Just looking, okay, so I'm going to get my screwdrivers and get this open. I hope you're all having a nice day today. It's a bit chillier today, isn't it? Another 10 degrees cooler again. Right, so yeah, this device is very useful. I will be using it still, so I'm not gonna break it. I'm not breaking it, I'm just taking it apart. I used to have a friend who said to me, if I'd fix his video recorder, if I took his video recorder apart to fix it, he'd say, "Oh, you've broken it. Hang on a minute, you invite me round here to fix it. Are you breaking it? Have you broken it?" I don't know, people are funny, aren't they? So there we go, that's nice and simple. Comes straight open. No extra, oh, is there a screw under there? Yes, there's a screw under there. If you're taking things apart and there's labels on the back, always press your finger on the label to see if it sort of gives way into like a little dimple. That usually means there's a screw underneath. I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah, there's a screw there, you see. Can you see that? Camera won't focus, will it? Hello camera, focus please. Thank you, finally. Here's a screw underneath there. And that label. So yeah, always press your finger uniformly across the labels and feel if there's a little cavity for a screw. So there we go. Isn't that nice? Wow, that's nice. Gosh, that's really nice inside. Nice construction. So let's have a look at the label. The silk screen, I mean. I want this app zoom. There we go, that's better. Okay. So let me get this in my head, right in my head first. Tango Delta 100 Papa Alpha 001 underscore I. Oh, sorry, underscore issue ISS 1. Copyright 2007. Tetra Systems Limited. Yeah, I did think it was about that sort of vintage. Sort of about 2006, 2007. That's probably a better zoom level there, isn't it? If I do that. Yeah, I did think it was around about that sort of age. That's nice. The switch. Why is there a switch in there? What's that for? There's a hidden switch in there. Is that a reset? Is that a reset switch? Goodness knows. I'll have to have a proper look at that in a minute. So now we've got that back off. Keep the screws aside. now the back's off, I'm going to release this ribbon cable by way of the two little latches there. Release the ribbon, and under, let's zoom out a bit actually, a bit too zoomed in there. Am I high enough? Is my camera high enough? Yeah, anyway, that'll do it. Remove these 4 screws here. I think this might be an English company who make these, or made these. I don't actually know. I feel like my camera should be higher up so you can get a better view. Is that better? That's worse. Hang on. Let's go forward. That's probably better. I have to be careful because this tripod is very precarious. There's a tendency to flop over on its own sometimes. So I think that'll do it. Let me put a counterweight on the back of the tripod, otherwise it could just fall over. Find something heavy. Yeah, that'll do. An old battery pack. That'll do. So next, the top 2 Phillips screws. Whoa. Do you see what I mean about the tripod? It just collapses on its own. The tripod just collapses under its own weight. 2 more. Are these all the same? Yes, they're all the same screws. That's always handy. Always handy. So now that board will come off there. I hope. A bit of persuasion. Gosh, that's nice. Very nice. Now I can actually clean under where the bezel's been pressed onto the edge of the glass all those years. There's a bit of grime around the edge. Can you see the grime? So me taking that off means I can now, taking this bezel off, I can now clean the edge of the screen properly with some antibacterial spray. That's very handy. Now then. Now then. Oh, I shouldn't say that, should I? So, get these screws out of the way. That would be, I would think that would be the 433 MHz transmitter module there. Yeah, RFTX1, there we go. Do you see that? It says RFTX1. This module here, where's it gone? RFTX1. That means radio frequency transmitter 1. So that's nice. RFTX1, that's the radio transmitter. Move these screws out of the way. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this device. I just wanted to show you inside it. There's a Piezo. Ooh, I'm too heavily zoomed in. There we go. There's a Piezoelectric Sounder there, which is a high frequency speaker. Piezoelectric sounders work by having a piezoelectric crystal layer inside them, which is excited by high voltage. And what chip do we have there? This one here. Let me zoom in a bit. Whoops, that's a bit too far. Move this out of the way. What is that? Let's turn the light off. Oh, it's an Atmel. It's an Atmel. Mega 329 PV. Oh, that's handy. It's an Atmel Atmega chip. That's very handy to know. So zoom out again now. I just took this apart for curiosity to see what's inside it. I'm glad I did, so I can now clean the screen. So let's get the screen cleaned and get this back together again. I would have thought this would be backlit by electroluminescent means, but I could be wrong. I don't actually know what method of backlighting they use. I think it's EL, I think. As I said, I could be wrong. I do not know. Is the top of this? Oh, there we go. You got a zebra strip there. This white strip here, my finger's pointing, is a rubber strip, and very sandwiched between those two. It's like a rubber sandwich. You see, there's like two rubber layers, and then there's like a grey layer in the middle. Well, that grey layer is vertical stripes of very fine. Maybe it's vertical stripes of rubber, which are very fine carbon dust mixed into the rubber, so it's conductive rubber. And what it means is the pads on the circuit board down here, the gold pads, can be transmitted through that silicon rubber to the back of the glass display. They're called zebra strips. Have a Google on zebra strips. You'll see them, how they work. Right, let me clean this display. Waffling on. It gives it a clean. Got a bit of grime on it. Not grime the music, grime the grime. Gosh, the time go quickly. 8:45 already, 20 to 9. So I'm just going to give this display a bit of a clean. It's a little bit grimy around the edge. After years of being in someone's house being used, I'm just going to clean that off. That's better. Looking better already. Nothing worse than grime. Actually, there is wrap. Wrap's worse than grime. Okay, that's coming up nicely now. That's looking really nice and clean. If I had some cotton buds, I'd use those, but since I don't, I won't. Well, can't. Today is Thursday, all day until midnight, and at midnight it becomes Friday. I don't know why I said that for, excuse me. Today is Thursday. Thursday today, middle. Right. One of my friends calls it Thursday. It's quite funny. You had to be there for her to find it funny. Right, okay, so more antibacterial spray. I'm using antibacterial spray because it solves all the problems at once. It cleans the screen, it's smear free, and it sterilises it too. Well, cleans it. I don't know if it sterilises it, I suppose it probably does. Get that nice clean. Cleaning was a job I used to do all the time on TV and video repairs when I was 16, 17. I used to clean everything all the time. Clean the pinch rollers of the VCR, clean the capstan, clean the heads. So cleaning is part of electronics, part and parcel of the job. Next job is to clean inside the bezel as well. Inside the bezel, where the grime may have been accumulating over the years. Let's do it that way. Clean inside the bezel. Not a bevel. A bezel. Well, actually, it has a bevel, but it's actually a bezel. It's a very clean device. It's been, apart from slight finger oil grease over the years, it's got very little, no muck at all inside it. The person whose house it came from is a very clean person. I know that for sure. They're very, very clean, so it's always a bonus. When I used to work at TV and video repairs in the 90s, as I just said, you'd have people bring, you'd have people bring TVs and videos in, mainly TVs, who are smokers, and the smoke and the nicotine and the smoke and dust would all congeal or all gather inside the set. In old-fashioned TVs, well, old-fashioned CRT televisions, they have a high voltage circuit inside called the line output transformer, which is 25,000 volts. Now, high voltage attracts dust. The back of these sets was loads of dust, and it was soaked in nicotine vapour. You know, over the years, the nicotine accumulates on the back of the set, the back of the tube, and impregnates the dust. It was lovely. And also, you get a piece of rag and a special chemical called Bezel foaming cleanser. You douse the rag in this cleaner and you wipe the screen down, and all this thick brown tar, nicotine tar, would come off the glass of the screen. It's disgusting, but very, very satisfying to do, knowing you cleaned the set to within an inch of its life. Very satisfying. Am I still zoomed in too far? How far? What's going on here? Zoom in? No. Zoom in? Zoom out? Out further. That's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes. There we go. Nice and clean. That flash is head on, isn't it? Head on, that flash. Let's see if we can get a side light on instead. No, I haven't got one. You have to just put up with a flash. So, there we go. That's nice and clean. That's inside the Home Easy HE100 433Mhz, and also infrared remote control. I'll show you again. Inside there. Yeah, it's a nice bit of kit. Very nice. Slightly easier than taking apart my cheap Chinese flashlight last night. I was sitting there for ages doing that. Okay, so I'll take some photos before I reassemble it. So pardon me being silent for a few minutes, just taking documentation photos of the chips. What should I say? I'm documenting it, should I say? When you're someone like me, you can never stop taking things apart. They're very interesting. Flash on. Angle. Flash off. Beautiful. So that's very nice indeed. Crystal's a crystal there. Little black thing. Can you see? Where is that little black thing there? Is a crystal. Crystal oscillator. Well, it's a crystal as part of an oscillator. It doesn't oscillate of its own volition. It oscillates when you excite it with a signal. This is a RF transmitter which sends out signals which are received by these gadgets. Oh, that's too far. And these receive them, and these receive the signal, and they decode the signal, and they know it's their ID being sent, and they act upon that signal, whether they switch on or off. So, I'm trying to work out what's under here. Not much. No, nothing at all under the display. I think the best thing I can do is get back together again before, I don't want to break it. I say break it, I won't break it, but I'm very careful, but I want to... Yeah, that's nice. Nice bit of kit. So, put that ribbon cable back in the socket. See across, you can watch me doing that. It's not very exciting, but it's interesting. So I got my tweezers and do that. Ribbon cable back in the socket here, and then latch it in. This little black thing slides back. Can't really show you. I haven't got 3 hands, which I can do actually. I can do it off camera. I can do it, but no, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, so you need to grab the cable with the tweezers gently, and gently ease it forwards as far as it will go into the socket, and then pull the latch back. That's to latch the cable to grip it in the socket. It's latched in now, and now what happens is I put this display assembly back onto here. That sits in there. Too far zoomed. Too far. Oh, come on, Facebook, don't mess about. Facebook app is useless. Facebook and anything involved with Facebook are always useless. We know this. We know their game. Don't want to be cynical like, but you know how it is, mate. Yeah, we know what Facebook are. Bunch of morons. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. Could be true. But, right. Okay. Hang on a minute. Hang on just a tick. That's not in far enough. Tripod a bit higher. You're getting way too close there. Your view is too close. And the tripod's in my way, and the laptop's in my way behind it. Soldering iron switched on, turn that off. That's what that was on for. Alexa, time.
It's 8:49 p.m.
I think it's pizza tonight, I think. Nice simple meal. Dr. Oetker's pizza. Oh my gosh, they're lovely. If you haven't had one, have one. If you don't like them, you have no taste. You literally have no taste. If you don't like Dr. Oetker's pizza, they're amazing. You have no sense if you don't like them. I'm trying to work out... Okay, I worked it out already. I'm trying to work out which of these 4 holes is the corresponding to these moulding holes, but it's obviously the outer 2 ones. The inner 2 ones are the inner 2 holes are the ones that come from that these screws go into. These ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They mount the board to the chassis. Shall we say? Yeah, chassis, that's what I call it. 1, 2. The problem with live streaming stuff, you have to constantly be aware of how far you're zoomed in, are you in focus. When you're doing a job on your own, it's not being documented, it's just being done. The job's just being executed. You'd have to think about zooming in and zooming out and all that stuff. But I like live streaming. Otherwise I wouldn't do it, would I? If you don't like jumping into a lake, you don't jump into a lake, do you? I like doing it. I like live streaming. Sometimes. I don't do it all the time. It's a bit tedious to do it all the time. Why's that going down? Right, let's screw it further in. Yes, there we go. I'm just screwing the bottom screws in here. You're not missing anything exciting, believe me. Just me put some screws in. Okay. Maybe a bit too tight there. Yeah. See the fiberglass of the board flexing slightly distorting under the pressure of the screw. So maybe not too tight. Posi drive screws, they're in, good, in like Flynn. Put the back on, get the batteries in, make sure it's working still. That'd be a bonus, wouldn't it? Is it working still? I hope so. There's not much to go wrong in this, to be honest with you. It's a very solidly constructed piece of kit. Back when people actually knew how to make things properly. Okay, oh, is it on? Yes, it's on. Good, that's on. Excellent. So it's back together. The battery's back out. And we're back to square one. Back to it in its original state. Very simple teardown and documentation and reassembly of the HomeEasy HE100 RF, that's 433 MHz, and infrared learning remote control. So I'll see you later, alligator.